No, that's a great question, Gatik. And a lot of organizations across industries have faced that because maybe you've hired somebody in the last couple of years who's never seen the office, right? And never seen anybody in person, maybe within a team. So that, in fact, Gatik, was one of the most important considerations when we thought about the 2+3 hybrid policy at Flipkart, which we are continually evolving. Because new leader assimilation or new employee assimilation, both mattered a lot to us. And what we saw through employee voices, even through the 2 years that we worked remotely, is that the sense of belonging gets impacted quite a bit within a within an organization. And maybe you could argue that we haven't figured out how to inculcate a sense of belonging in a remote scenario yet in the world. Maybe we haven't figured out that answer, but certainly it needs some level of in-person interaction. Obviously, that wasn't possible in the first 2 years. We've now managed to do that in our hybrid work policy. But the way we did it in the 2 years is we endeavored our best, Gatik. That's what I would say. We organized multiple immersion sessions with the new joiners. We spent a lot more time designing assimilation programs. We rewired all the programs that we had. Obviously, there was a change in format. It became all digital versus in person. That was a big change for us, which I think most organizations would have. But we also thoughtfully redesigned some of the programs in order to take view of what could be potentially challenging in a remote work scenario, right? And the example I'd often like to quote is the program that we thought about for first line managers. In managing remote teams, managing at a distance is very different from managing in person. And I personally, as a leader, like every other manager, face it. So we designed a program called Coach with Compassion, for instance, where you, as a first line manager, how do you get to know the pulse of your team? How do you get to know the pulse of a person who's working with you within your team? And how do you detect any signals of detachment, uh, trouble? And obviously, people were going through a lot mentally and physically. So, how do we make sure that first line managers empathize and are compassionate in their approach? Was one of the new programs that actually sprung to life in the pandemic.